I'm scrubbing my schedule, I'm bringing a bouquet of flowers, baby. You better be ready to bone. Hey, what's the word? Welcome to another episode of Sunday Sidecar, the series where we bone up on last week's Tuesday Ukeday drop. This week's episode, you better be ready to bone. Well, I guess I just call it better be ready to bone. You better, whatever. It's all the same. I feel like I just want to get this out of the way. Disclaimer, just because of the rise in media illiteracy and toxic masculinity, want to make it perfectly clear that this is a satirical, sardonic take on a dysfunctional relationship, maybe even a non-relationship, and no one should ever expect anyone else to be ready to bone for any reason, nor should anyone be expected to be ready to bone for any reason. So just want to get that out of the way, straight out of the way, just to be clear. So with that out of the way, on to the juicy stuff. Plosives. Plosives, you know what plosives are, right? Voiceless or voiced bilabial plosives, unvoiced bilabial plosives. No? Well, let's get into it. So, and it's, from a lyrical perspective, it's kind of odd that we don't learn about these a lot in poetry or creative writing classes. At least I haven't learned about them in any of the creative writing or, lyrical classes. Not lyrical classes, but poetry or just writing classes. It's just all like linguistic stuff. So in phonetics, which is the study of how words sound and how phonemes and letters, individual letters sound, they have different types of characteristics and categorizations. You have your plosives, which are, how do I describe it? It's like how you make sound and how you stop it. So in this case, we have the bilabials, which are B and P. So b, p. So p is your unvoiced plosive, p. B is the voiced. It's like voiced, counterpart. P becomes b. Try it. If you haven't done this before, p, b. It's the same sound, but one has voice. You're making a voice with your throat. Similarly, you have a T and D. I can never fucking remember this word. Alveolar. Your alveolar plosive, the oddest words, but your t becomes d, t, d. And it's how you're making sound and how you're stopping that sound, whether or not it's like with your tongue, or your lips, stopping, the sound to, cut it off and form to mold that phoneme sound, that letter sound. And of course, those become words. What does this all fucking have to do with this song? Yes, as you can tell, this song relies on a lot of plosives, a lot of B's and P's, and it's something that drove the song. Because when I started off, I had, as per usual, I just had the... And the first line I wrote for the song was, I'm popping the bubbly, I'm bringing a bouquet of flowers, baby. That's, just, it was actually, I think, just, I'm popping the bubbly. I'm popping the bubbly. And from there, I was like, yeah, I want to roll with these plosives a little more. And that's what drew, created the gist for this song. Surprisingly enough, maybe not surprisingly if you know me, but and that's kind of what it comes down to. And from there, obviously, it grew into this whole, it just kind of like a cheesy, sexy type of, back and forth. It could even be like, maybe not a dysfunctional relationship, but just some, a couple texting each other throughout a Friday, building up that tension for their Friday night date or something. It works either way. But it's, I guess, even to like a little obviousness, it's completely, totally influenced by the D, Tenacious D. Hey, isn't, I always thought, I heard that their name was based off that, it was like a basketball defense or something like that, like a college basketball defense, like the Tenacious D. But man, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I'm wondering if that D stands for something else. Anyway, in this case, we're talking about the Tenacious B, or the plosives, kind of like the that Simpsons episode where they have Furious D, the racehorse, which is an homage to the D. Look it up; it's true, at least according to the internet. So that was what really drove this, was just kind of messing around with that and then just having fun with the plosives. There's not really much too else to say when it comes to this song because it's pretty straightforward. The hook came out pretty well, I think. You say jump and I'll leap heifers, gimme your love. You say simp and I'll fill your pussy, gimme your love. It got a nice little ring to it. It's just, again, cheesy and sappy, but just fun and lighthearted at the same time. The reason, obviously the I'm popping the bubbly, I'm bringing a bouquet of flowers. It didn't work just from an order of operations for what needed to happen throughout the song, because that's just from a narrative point. I will say though, just from a kind of like a unsatisfactory portion on my end. First, I busted my strumming nail right before this song recorded. So and I don't know how many people rely on their nails. I'm not a pick guy at all, and it was just like ripped down to the bottom, so it was hard to strum. So apologies to that. And plus, as we can tell, many times like my register is not always in the right spot. It's probably the hardest thing for me to do out of all of this is to keep my voice or first to get it where I want it in the first place, and then to keep it there throughout the song, which is, I don't know, it's hard. But that's, it is what it is. But yeah, so something, for, aspiring songwriters out there, just look into more like phonetics and, check out more about what sound good together. You can kind of build off of that instead of always relying on, straight rhymes or just, syllable counts or whatever. Get into some of more of the phonetic side of things, because it's just good to know if you want to write lyrics, but B, it's just they can help drive you in the right direction or point you in the right direction if you're kind of stuck on something. You're trying to figure out what should I do with this. You can like lean into the phonetics of things. Sometimes you might just want to exploit plosives. Maybe sometimes you just want to fuck with fricatives. Fricatives are more of like your stopping the sound with in a different way, more like your M's, your end. Wait, no, those nasals. I'm sorry. M's and N's are nasals because you're stopping with your nose. So N, like that. And so, everything for me is nasally. It's all out of my nose. But something to look into, because it's not something they teach you in poetry class or creative writing class when you're trying to write lyrics, and it could be a good source of inspiration, or at least a guideline. But this is it. Yeah. So this is Better Be Ready to Bone. Again, just a fun song, nothing serious. Just getting that funk on for your Friday night. You better be ready to bone. Yeah, you better be ready to bone. You better be ready to bone. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed, and please check back soon for another ditty from Uke Brute.